Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Elevate Your Life podcast. My name is Paul Croto, and I'm here with the hungry Cheryl Morley.
Hello, Paul. This is very exciting today. Oh my gosh, you are right. I am a little bit hungry.
You look like a chipmunk for a moment there with all the nuts stuck in the side of your cheek there.
I'm going to tell you something. I love nuts. I really do.
They're fantastic.
You bet.
All right. Well, today is Leadership Thursday, so we're covering leadership topics, and we're jumping into a book called Developing the Leader Within You by John Maxwell. This is the 2.0 version. And Cheryl, I love the beginning of this whole book and the way he talks about the way that 25 years went by since he wrote the original. Mm-hmm. And a lot has changed since then.
You mean like 89% of the book he changed?
Yeah.
I thought that was so fascinating because he said that when he very first started out, and that he was going to revise this a little bit because he has grown so much as a leader over the years. He had no idea that it would be like 89% of the book would be changed. I don't think he really thought that much would change. And he said it was just fascinating to realize that, oh my gosh, that he's grown so much and that, that he's going to change 89% of his book from 25 years ago. It was amazing.
Yeah. I would just to reiterate, that's, he just grew so much over the years. It wasn't that anything really changed. It was he changed over the years and knew that. So this is his second best-selling book of all time. This number one book's obviously The 21 Laws of Leadership, which he's revising, and we will go over that as soon as we have a copy. We should be getting a copy very, very soon. But while we're waiting for that, we're going to be teaching the second best book he's ever written, sales-wise anyways, called Developing the Leader Within. This, again, is the 2.0 version. So I can't recommend, if there's a book, there's some certain books you must have in your library. This is one of them. It's all about developing yourself as a leader, and then you can turn around and help everybody else become a leader as well. So Cheryl, the title to this podcast today is The Definition of Leadership and Influence. So what the heck is leadership?
Well, let me tell you, unbeknownst to me, because I really had no idea until I started, really studying and listening to John so much, but it's just simply influence. Leadership is influence. And I thought it was so interesting that John talks a little bit about that. And he said that years ago, when he very first started, he had to he was like, I'm going to do some leadership coaching. And everyone's like, well, I'm already a leader. I don't need any of that. And so he wouldn't have anyone come. And so he said he changed it to influence. And so, or talking about how you can influence people and how you can become a bigger influence. And so then here they all came. Well, I'm a leader, but I need to influence people more. And so really, but what he was doing, he said it took him about 10 years for people to start understanding that leadership is simply influence, which is fascinating to me.
Yeah, it is. It's so interesting. Literally that if you're influencing other people, you're getting people to do what your vision is or what you want them to do. You have influence over them. Therefore, you're a leader. You have people following you. But if no one's following you, if you're not influencing anybody, then you're simply not a leader. You're taking a walk, as John would say.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
A lot of people taking walks out there.
By themselves.
Absolutely. So we're going to go over the 5 levels of leadership here in today's podcast. We're going to do the best job we can at explaining this, but John does such a great job. I was actually at a live seminar when he taught this for 30 minutes. So we're going to make podcast number 65, podcast that we'll be posting tomorrow, will be his 30-minute live seminar that he explains the 5 levels of leadership. You can hear it right from John, but we're going to give some kind of pre notes to that so that we can set people up for a great lesson tomorrow. So Cheryl, talk to us about the first level of leadership.
Yes, I will. But first, Paul, wait, I want to mention something really quick because it's something that really gave me like a lot of hope and a lot of it was kind of an aha moment for me. And I don't want to just pass over it, but that is that no one is born a leader. And it's so amazing to me because I thought that my whole life, like you're born who you are. And if you're a leader, awesome. And if you're not, okay, well, then you're just going to be a follower. And John simply says that's absolutely not true. no one is born a leader, and that you can develop into a leader. And I remember when I heard that, I was like, ah, I was so excited, and it gave me so much hope. Like, it gave me hope because I thought that would be awesome to be able to help people and lead them and get them, for me, it was get them healthy and have them go from fine to fabulous. And so when I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, thank goodness I can do more myself and learn more and then help others. So I love that.
Oh, and it's so true. If you go talk to any great leader, and there's not a lot of them out there, but you do know one or get a chance to meet one, ask them, hey, were you always born this good of a leader? And I guarantee you, they don't even have a chance to answer you. They're just going to laugh like hard because they're like, if you met me when, back 20 years ago, there's no way you'd follow me. I had no influence over anyone. So all of this is learned. There is no such thing. Well, they were just born a leader. It's like a leader. Granted that there's some tendencies towards being a great leader, but the best leaders out there really have just gone in and studied this topic and applied it to life, made a ton of mistakes, and just built for them. Looked at everything as being a learning experience and built themselves up to these different levels of leadership. So yeah, let's jump right into it, Cheryl. That was a great point, though, that absolutely leaders can be created and are created. But everyone starts at the same level one. What's level one of leadership?
Yeah. Okay, so level one, and this is a 5. So level one, people follow you because they have to, like they're your boss, or they're higher than you in the company or whatever. So they follow you because they have to, which it's interesting to me, because if somebody has to follow somebody else and it's not, their heart's not in it, they're not in it, they're just kind of like, well, I'll just do whatever I have to do to get my paycheck, usually is what's happening. So so that's the first one. And then the second part of the very first level of leadership is the position doesn't make the leader makes the position. Yeah, which I love that. John said that.
Yeah, so level one's all about position. It's that I'm at a higher level than you are in this company. And whatever I tell you to do, you got to do. So they follow you because they have to. And it's just,
that sounds so bad, Paul. Whatever I tell you, you have to do. You have to do. That doesn't sound good.
That's the way that 90% of of businesses work.
I know, but I know. I used to have to do it. I used to have to do the
there's
a
huge difference between level 1 and 2. I mean, humongous, because 90% are 90% of the leaders out there are level 1 leaders.
That is so amazing. Now, and that's pretty much at every job, right? If you have a job, then you're following somebody where you have to. You're not choosing to do that.
Yeah, so John really recognized this and has created, a coaching program that I got involved in. And there's actually John Maxwell coaches that go into businesses now and start teaching some leadership, because people would just be like, oh, you've been here for 10 years. Oh, you should take a leadership position. But just because you've been an employee following someone for 10 years doesn't mean you're going to be a great leader.
Right.
As a matter of fact, again, 90% of them are not great leaders. They have no idea what leadership is. And they're just bossing people around, telling them what to do, and everyone hates them. And that's why in a lot of companies, I hear this a lot, that I was offered a management position, but I declined it because people hate the managers so much.
Yeah.
Because they're not leaders. They're just there because of the position that they have, and they don't understand level 2. So what's level 2, Cheryl?
So level 2 is called the permission level. So this is where you have the permission to lead, I guess. You have the permission from the people. So they're saying, yes, I will follow you. So they're actually follow you because they want to. Right? Because you've built that relationship with them. You have that relationship.
Yeah. Really a shift going from have to want to, which is literally night and day.
Oh my gosh. That's just, and what happens, Paul? Energy drastically increases. Yeah. Right? Because it's exciting, it's fun. And now I'm doing what I want to do instead of what I have to do.
Yeah. And you hear about that in the workplace in certain situations where the employee goes that extra mile. Well, why would they go the extra mile? Because they really like their leader. They really like their boss. and
Yeah.
they're willing to do, more for that person. So yes, the energy goes way up. And
the next one was something that I had never thought of before, Paul, that every single day, so every day people vote on you as a leader.
Yeah.
I thought that was so fascinating. I'm like, don't you just say it once and you're like, oh yeah, but no, it's every day. And I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely right.
yeah, I vote on you every day, Cheryl.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what though, we definitely every day vote on Dr. Wallach, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought that was so interesting. I was like, oh my gosh, of course.
Yeah.
Right. So I love that.
Yeah, it's so true also. All right, what's number 3 as we're moving along here through the 5 levels? Production.
That is number 3 is production. So people follow you because of what you have done for the organization. So this is a little bit different. So to me, it seems like they even look up to that person.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because because this leader, number 3, the third level of leadership is the production where you as a leader are producing. So you're producing, and you're obviously really good at it. It's the results you're getting. You've got great results. And I loved, of course, I mean, this all kind of just fell into place when John was talking about it, but that people want to follow people who are successful. Of course. I love that when he told the little story about if he was there and Shaquille O'Neal was there and they were going to have a team and that they'd each get to pick their teammates or team players. He said, when Shaq's like picking his team, you're going to be like, yes, pick me. But if John's picking his team for the basketball, you're going to be hiding under the desk and saying, no, don't pick me. I need to be on the other team. And that's so funny because it's like, you know what team's going to win. In basketball, it probably won't be John's if Shaq is the captain of the other team. So it just goes to show that people really do want to follow people who are successful. So
absolutely, people who are producing results. You see, like the NFL every year, there's like a half a dozen coaches that get fired, and they're looking to hire a new coach, which is a new leader to the team. So they go and look, well, who's won Super Bowls, who's won a lot of playoff games, so they're looking for results in people, and you hire people based on what they've done in the past, what they've done for different organizations, and those are the kind of people you want to bring in. So that's production. They're great producers. They can create massive momentum and they can attract better people. So you see it all the time, especially in college. You get a really great head coach all of a sudden, and then players starts being like, oh, I want to go play for him. And you start seeing colleges like stock with players because they want to follow that coach so bad.
Yeah.
What's number 4, Cheryl?
I love that. Number 4 is people development. So it's the reproduction of yourself, right? I mean, it's like you're a leader and you're reproducing leaders. Like you're helping your people are following you because of what you've done for them, because you're helping them, you're pouring into them, you're making them better. And so, and I love this one. And then also, I think it's so important. And, we say this a lot, Paul, I guess, that you need to make sure that you are a leader first, right? And so you're the one studying and learning and growing so that you can turn around and do that for others. And I think that that's what this is right here. The people development number 4, you're that type of a leader if you are doing these different things.
Yep. And just going back to the 6 human needs, so I'm always big on growth. I'm big on contribution, and I'm big on, loving people, connecting with them, and then significance. And the way I meet my need for significance is I try to become significant in other people's lives. Mm-hmm. So I love when he says people follow you because of what you have done for them.
Yeah.
Like this, like Paul's done a lot for me, and changed my life. So I want to follow him. This is a great, great level to get to. You feel significant, you feel blessed, you feel, just awesome. You feel fulfilled because you helped other human beings change their life and improve their life.
Right. And I think that also a leader at level 4 also does 3 things really well. And that's they recruit really well. So they understand people. That's when I heard these 3 things, I was like, oh, they really understand people. So they recruit really well.
They find great people. They're able to find super great people to be on their team.
That's exactly right. They position their leaders really well. So they, that is super important too.
Yeah.
In positioning and in knowing who they are and making sure that they're in the right spot,
what their
right?
strengths are, what their wheelhouse is. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then they equip them really well. So they give them all of the tools that they need to be successful, which, hello.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. I love that one.
Yeah. That's a great level to get to. And then obviously there's the 5th level, the top of the peak there, which is called the pinnacle level.
Mm-hmm.
And really at this level, people just disrespect you. I mean,
yeah, I almost thought you said disrespect you, but they respect you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's absolutely right. So people follow you just because of who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you represent. It's so
Yeah.
true.
Yep.
So it's interesting that people put you on this level. It's like the level 1 and 2, you got to work to get to level 2. You got to work to get level 3, and you got to really work to get to level 4. You can't really work to get to level 5. It's just people grab you and put you at level 5 because of the utmost respect they have of you. I mean, you're talking about the Belichick's who won 10 Super Bowls, or, lost count already how many he won, but they've done so much for so long. The John Maxwell's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, well, who's the #1 leadership coach ever? And you're always going to be like, well, you mean besides John? I mean, because there's John in one arena, and then there's everyone else way over here. So you become that important to and have that kind of respect. You really reach this pinnacle.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting too that he talked a little bit about leaders at this 5th level don't ever live off of yesterday. So what they did yesterday has nothing to do with what they're doing today and what they're going to do tomorrow or the next day or the next day. And I love that part because it makes you like kind of start to think about, hey, let's make sure, Paul, that we're not doing that.
Yeah, no,
right?
Absolutely. And I find it so interesting that, he wrote 100 books. So you got to figure he's writing the next book just because he knows 1 million people will buy it regardless of how good it is. So he could write some quote unquote bad books, and not put a lot into it and still get tremendous sales because of who he is. But people at this level don't do that. That's pinnacle level. They're like, no, my next book is going to be my best book. And he even says that the best book I ever written is the one I'm about to write. And literally, like, I can read each book as it goes along, and they get better and better and better and better with more insight. And he's actually, with this book, gone back and saw how bad one of his books was 25 years ago, redid the whole thing, 89% of it. And, just doesn't live off of, well, it was the #2 best-selling leadership book of all time. He's like, so what? It's got to be better. So they always have the elevate mentality. We got to make things better. So just to burn through the 5 levels of leadership, once again, the first level is position. And then there's permission. They want to follow you now. Then there's production, where you're actually producing results for people. At the 4th level, it's called people development. So we're actually in the reproduction level here, where we're duplicating ourselves and producing a lot of other leaders in the organization. And then last but not least, number 5, the pinnacle level, which people just utterly respect you. Just like that, he's the GOAT, the greatest of all time, or she's the best ever, so it's a great level to get to, Cheryl, and absolutely one that I want to reach someday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be the best, I think the best feeling, right?
Yeah.
And the best and just the best place to live is in at number 5.
Yeah. 4 is great too,
Oh yeah.
So it just, wherever you are, you need to decide right now. And Cheryl and I were having a little discussion where we were. Cheryl said, well, obviously I'm at 5 already. Paul.
Yeah, Paul, that sounds a lot like me. It really does. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
I wasn't quite as high. I'm like maybe 3, I'm like 2.5. So it's interesting. When you look in the mirror and have to come up with a number, like where you are on these 5, it's humbling because again, to go from 1 to 2 is such a huge leap. And then 2 to 3, where you're really producing massive results for an organization, and they just have to have you because you're just, the kind of results that you produce. So it's a great, great targets to shoot for. And now that you know what they are, you can achieve them. You can, okay, I understand now that there's different levels and what they are. And you can literally make a to-do list out on what you need to do to get to the next level. So first of all, identify where you're at now. Pick one of these 5, and then what do I need to do to get to the next one? Would be the questions. It would be the question to ask, and then start writing some stuff out and making a to-do list up there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then just keep at it, right? Never ever give up. I mean, it's not always going to be easy. But I love some of these. I love some of these takeaways, Paul. Which one I really love is you can't turn anything around without changing it.
Yeah.
What? Wait.
Yeah, people always try to stay away from change. I don't like change.
Of
I want things to
course.
change. And leaders looking for change. We got to change things.
Yeah.
It's just the complete opposite view. And the ultimate test for leaders, the ability to create positive change in the lives of people. It's to influence them to. And that's what Cheryl and I do. We want to elevate people's lives. We want to help women go from fine to fabulous. And it's the ultimate test for us every single day is to create this positive change in the lives of people. But there's nothing more rewarding, Cheryl. I mean,
right.
I love the feeling of changing people's lives in a positive manner.
Yeah, me too. I mean, there's nothing can take the place of that. Ever.
Yeah.
And that I think is where we are meant to live in that whole idea of that we're here to help others. Yeah, I really believe that.
Really, so just super funny thing, like in the beginning when I was following John and he would mention the word influence, for some reason I always thought of bad influence. Really? She's a bad influence. He's a bad influence. Because you hear that all the time as a child. My mom used to always say that. Oh, you're not hanging out with him anymore. He's just a bad influence. So I heard that so many times that it stuck with me. So yeah, just because someone people have a tough time understanding that Hitler was a great leader. He influenced people. And now was it good or bad? It was really bad. But the definition of leadership is that person influencing other people. Now there's bad influences and then there's good influences. Right. So that's a huge differential between leaders. But there's so many bad influencers out there. They're just
make sure you're picking the good ones.
Make sure you're picking the good ones.
Picking the good ones.
Creating that positive change in people's lives as opposed to dragging them down into a dumpster fire.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's the last one, Cheryl? This is my personal favorite here.
The last one is people buy into the leader before they buy into the vision.
Yeah, we see people all the time selling the vision. Like, well, they haven't bought into you yet. Why are you selling the vision?
Yeah. And I think that's absolutely, I think that's absolutely true. In every sense of the word, right? In every part of life, every single day we're,
with your children, with your marriage, with whatever, people in your organization, they got to buy into you first. And then here's the vision I have,
Yeah.
But you could have a great vision and people don't buy into you, they'll never do it. So
absolutely.
They got to buy in first. So this was awesome, Cheryl.
So much fun. I love it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. So we're going to, again, this is podcast 64. The next one we're going to post to 65 is John explaining these 5, which is, it's literally hilarious. I mean, the way he does it, he works humor into it, but he does an unbelievable job. Like the best 30 minutes I think I've ever heard from him. We'll post his podcast 65 just because it's so good. So be sure to listen to that tomorrow. And we'll be back next week to help you elevate your leadership on next Thursday.
Bye.
Bye everyone.